Hey! So, I just finished reading 1984, and I swear that must have been like the most depressing book I have ever read, ever. And what was really depressing about it was the fact that, like, at the end, when Winston was, I don't know, brainwashed, I guess, when he came out of the Ministry of Love, he he'd lost his drive. He wasn't the same guy anymore because he'd he'd been brainwashed, basically. I mean, they'd put him through so much torture and pain, and I mean, like, physically and mentally, that, like, I mean, he would there were no remnants of who he was before. Who he was before, I mean, he was left in the Ministry of Love. He never came out of the Ministry of Love because this guy who came out of the Ministry of Love wasn't Winston. And the fact that you can do that to a human being, the fact that you can so totally change a human being to make them forget who they are, to make them change who they are, I really, really, really found it hard to read, especially in the beginning. I didn't really catch on to it. And I knew it was going to be a depressing book. Just something in the tone of the author, of George Orwell, just something in his tone made me, I knew that it was going to be really, really depressing. And I was right. And so yeah. Another thing that I found really interesting were all the different party slogans, like who controls the present controls the future, and who controls the past controls the present, I think. Maybe I messed that up. Something along those lines. And it's basically saying the people in power now can control anything that happens in the future, and they can control whatever happened in the past, because there's no, like, hard evidence, no hard proof of the past, right? As discussed in the end of the book while Winston's being tortured. I mean, how can you manipulate somebody's thoughts? How can you manipulate everything that ever says anything's ever happened in the past, right? Like, they go and they can change anything and everything that's ever been put out there, anything and everything that's ever been written or published or, photographed or videotaped. They could literally rewrite this vlog. So I'm talking for the party, right? And like, that makes me really scared. That's something that I, like, never thought about. I've never thought about the fact that, like, there could have been, like, no Albert Einstein, or, like, no Winston Churchill. The photos of him could have been photoshopped. The entirety of World War II could be a lie. I mean, that really messes up with that messes with my mind. The fact that people would do that, not only that they would do that, but that they could do that to completely rewrite history. I mean, that scares me. That really scares me. And it's something I never even thought about before. I mean, I can't believe that. I really can't believe that. And I think that the book in and of itself really brings up some interesting points about what humans can do to other humans, right? And, like, when Winston and Julia are in one of their secret hiding places, she starts talking about how she thinks the war is fake. And it kind of hits me really hard when Winston goes, "Oh crap, I never thought of that." Right? I mean, even Winston, old Winston, he wasn't immortal to it either, even though he disagreed with the party, even though he was a rebel, even though he was committing thought crime, even though, he didn't believe the party in half of the crap they did, he still fell for the idea of a war. And I just kind of, that kind of hit me hard, because What if we're all falling for it? I don't know what I'd do. I don't know what I'd do if something like that happened. If something like that were true. What do you do about that? What can you do? Anything and everything that's ever been linked to the past has been erased and rewritten. That just kind of scares me. I mean, my thoughts from 2 years ago could be, completely messed up. They could be what that didn't even happen 2 years ago, right? And that messes me up. That really messes me up. And so back to the party slogan, I think it's a deep slogan. It's a deep slogan saying that, who controls now controls what happens in the future depending on their actions, right? And then they can control the past because they can change and rewrite everything that's ever been published, everything that's ever been written, any kind of hard physical thing related to the past can be altered to fit somebody's specific perspective. Another slogan that really really made me go, wow, it hit me hard, was the War is Peace slogan. In the book, Winston reads about this slogan, and he reads 20 pages worth about why the slogan is true, right? Why war is peace. And that slogan is all about how by manipulating people to believe in a war, whether or not it's right, whether or not it exists, right? Manipulating people into having a war, a never-ending war, a war without victory. That's not only is it wrong, but it is creating peace. It's funny how when you think war and peace, you think, oh, they're antonyms, right? They're completely contradictory of each other. But in a way, war is peace. Because in a time of war, everybody within the nation, we all put aside our differences and we say, okay, we have to fight this force. Kind of like in World War II, when the Allies said, okay, whatever, put aside our differences, we have to work together to stop the Nazis, right? The fact that they do that, it's true, it's very true. And so, in a way, war is peace, because war brings people together, not different countries, like when Germany was fighting America, no, right? But within America and Britain, and they put aside the differences, and they said, we have a common enemy, we're gonna fight against this common enemy. And I don't have the words to describe how it makes me feel when somebody says that war is peace, and it's true, especially when somebody who's manipulating your mind, manipulating your thoughts, manipulating everything you know. Overall, 1984 was very depressing, but it was a good book. It was a very deep book. It was a very profound book. It was a kind of book that I haven't read in a while. The author had a tone, he had a style of writing that really surprised me and that really caught my attention. It took me a while to read 1984 because it was just so, all these ideas were so compact. 300 pages! It was only 300 pages long. And it took me a while to read because I had to understand every line I read. I also think that it was a really good book. So, yeah.